All right, a new report from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business suggests 1 in 5 small businesses dealing with tariff costs will not last more than 6 months if nothing changes. So let's dig more into that report as we welcome Brianna Solberg with the CFIB. Brianna, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. This is it's sobering, this report, to say the least. Who are you kind of aiming at here? Who do you think is going to be the hardest hit by some of these new rules and things that are going on?
Well, it's small businesses of all sectors who are really going to be the most impacted and have been the most impacted by this trade war. They're really caught in the crossfires and being squeezed in every direction by increased costs and ultimately lower revenues because consumers are holding their cards close to their chest too. So small businesses are really hoping to see a deal struck between the US and Canada, not to mention the impact that Chinese tariffs have been having on Saskatchewan's ag producers. So it's small businesses of all sectors that are hurting here, and they're looking for some relief.
Okay, and looking to the federal government, I guess probably the best equipped to handle some of these strains and maybe do something about this. So what are you calling on the federal government to do?
Yeah, well, Ottawa's decision last week to remove some of the counter tariffs on U.S. goods is certainly a step in the right direction. It will help relieve some of the pressure that small firms are facing. We know that around 60% of our small business members had said that they were impacted in one way or another by Canada's retaliatory tariffs. So that's good news. But ultimately, Ottawa has collected millions of dollars as a result of these counter tariffs. And so CFIB has been calling for Ottawa to return those funds immediately to help small businesses weather this storm as trade talks continue, whether that's through a reduction of the small business tax rate or through direct rebates, as we saw them do with the carbon tax money that needed to be returned. So ultimately, the ball is in Ottawa's court to start returning some of these funds and help businesses adjust to the costs that they're seeing.
Okay, so when you put together a report like this, that's a staggering number, right? 1 in 5. How do you put it together?
Mm-hmm. Well, you can imagine that small businesses, whether they're directly trading goods with the U.S. or they're buying goods from another business who has gotten their goods from the U.S., everybody's impacted in one way or another. Ultimately, when we see a trade dispute like this, costs increase, it ends up being the end consumer who suffers because many businesses have no choice but to raise their prices to help absorb those cost increases. And we have our members telling us right now that consumer demand is already one of the biggest constraints on their budgets, on their ability to grow and expand, as we know that consumers face tight margins as well. They're having to make tough decisions. So costs are up for businesses and revenues are down, which creates sort of a perfect storm. So you could imagine many don't think that they'll be able to survive if nothing changes.
Okay. Yeah, no, the stress is real, and we hope for some sort of solutions as we move forward. Brianna Solberg from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Yeah, thanks for having me.